My name is Jeff Martine, and I'm a proud graduate of the Master's in Special Education Learning Disabilities program here at AU. I wanted to start off by collectively thanking our families, cooperating teachers, professors and administration, and our friends for all of the guidance and love lent to us during this unprecedented year of challenges. I wanted to specifically thank my own parents, Jack and Sue Martine, for being my refuge and support system during this stressful year. There are two important things to know about me. First, I'm from New Jersey, and second, I'm Italian. What that means is that family is just about everything to me. And in so many ways, our cohort has become like a second family. It's as fictional New Jersey native Tony Soprano said, family. They're the only ones you can depend on. And this second family of ours didn't merely get through this year. Together, we thrived and made each moment count. It's rare for any student to look forward to grad school classes in person, let alone on Zoom. But this dynamic group of dedicated people made class time exciting and learning an adventure. During our time here at American University, both remotely and in person, we've developed new friendships that will last a lifetime. There have been times this semester I feel like I've spoken to fellow graduates Natalie McFetridge and Chelsea Green more than I talk to my own parents. And I live at home. With our friends this year, we've celebrated victories, mourned losses, and held each other up in the midst of seismic changes to the field of education, brought on largely by two pandemics, coronavirus and institutional racism. Through all of these trials and tribulations, we have fought tooth and nail to be here today. So let's celebrate our victory and every victory. Let's remember that when you live your life as an educator, each day provides an occasion to celebrate. Cesar Chavez once said, real education should consist of drawing the goodness and the best out of our own students. What better book can there be than the Book of Humanity? If we look at this big book of humanity, I think it's safe to entitle this year's chapter as Unprecedented Times. We hear this phrase all the time, that we are living in unprecedented times for education, for politics, for this or for that. But what about this past year has been unprecedented? Humans have lived through pandemics, violence, conflict, and political upheaval for thousands and thousands of years. What I think is truly unprecedented is the passion emanating from the School of Education's class of 2021. Instead of wallowing in the unprecedented despair, let us look to unprecedented hope. Let us celebrate unprecedented triumphs instead of commiserating unprecedented struggles. Let us be a part of this unprecedented family instead of turning inward. I know that while we are all a part of the School of Education family, we each belong to a different program. We have graduates and undergraduates, special educators and policy people, secondary and elementary teachers. Though our approaches and our goals may be different, we share in a common purpose, an American purpose, to ignite and inspire the minds of a generation. I am proud to call myself a special educator, just as each of you should be proud of who you are and who you hope to teach and inspire. This class holds in its hands the future of hundreds, maybe thousands of students across the DMV and beyond. During our time here at SOE, we have prepared to teach with a social justice mindset and laser focus on equity. Dr. Ibram X. Kendi said it best. Like fighting an addiction, being an anti-racist requires persistent self-awareness, constant self-criticism, and regular self-examination. No other profession calls for as much self-examination than teaching. As graduates of American University, we are uniquely qualified to foster environments that promote unequivocal truth, passionate activism, and unfettered kindness grounded in anti-racism and the most therapeutic practice. Towards the end of my student teaching, one of my kids asked me a question that threw me through a loop. He said, Mr. Martine, if you had to choose between us and your family, who would you choose? I thought for a minute. It threw me because my students have emotional disturbances and behavioral disorders. So I wanted to answer his question truthfully, while also being prudent about how what I would say would make him feel. So I thought for a moment and I answered him honestly and said, you guys are my family, so I wouldn't need to choose. He paused and I mentally prepared myself for that inevitable rebuttal that my students are known for at their school. But instead he said, thanks, Mr. Martine. You are like my family to me too. I mentioned this story today because the work that we do in the classroom is more than just addition and subtraction. It's more than just teaching the Pythagorean theorem. What we do in our classrooms every day is create connections. We create families of students who otherwise would have no reason to talk to each other. What's even more impressive is that this year, we did all of that and more in a virtual space. There's truly nothing that we can't do. I want to end by circling back, as we like to say on Zoom, to what I said about family. I would be nowhere without my own. We may not always agree, we may even squabble from time to time, but there is nothing doubting my love for them. I feel the same way about my classmates in SELD, and I know this feeling is shared by everyone in SOE. This is what the future of education looks like. Building meaningful connections even when we must socially isolate. Flexibility and grace even with waxing and waning uncertainty. But mostly, the future of education looks like a giant family. A huge, diverse family of the craziest, wisest, and most dedicated people in the world. Thank you